Here we go again. Let's just get started again. So welcome to Seeking Truth. I think that means we can go finding Stephen Fraser. This on speaker. I think the sound was pretty good last time. Crank that letter up. And
hello.
Here we go. Hey, Steve.
Here we go.
I think it all worked out. I did a little recording earlier. Check the sound. Seems like it's coming through pretty clear.
All right, sweet.
I know it's like welcome to. I was thinking about it earlier. I started like the freaks and geeks. You and Frank both have been kind of banned for various reasons. And so this Seeking Truth has become that. Freaks and geeks. Free speech, free form. Say whatever you want. It's all you, Steve. What do you want to say?
I don't know, man. Hey, it's your show. What do you guys want to talk about? That's what's up.
Well, just we started, I didn't really do that myself, but sort of like an intro thing, like, here's me, here's what I believe, rather than just kind of jumped in and it was like, ooh, answering questions on the fly. That was a little bit different. But at least if you start with a base, like you did that post somewhere, you got a little bit of action on it. But just to say, like what did you say to me earlier? It was sort of like, where you're coming from, who you kind of most align with, and how actually no one seems to like what you have to say.
Yeah, well, that's usually what it is, though, right? Because like, my truth is my truth, and not their own version of their truth. Because there is no real truth, right? There is no truth. The truth is what you choose to tell yourself and feel comfortable with for life. It's a spaghetti monster or Christ. It is what it is. Different strokes for different folks, right? Me, I'm on the path of what.
Whoops.
I'm trying to rid myself of all the bullshit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bullshit in the world today. Like with a Type 1 internet station system, still a bunch of timing. It was definitely.
Hold on a sec, Steve. You're cutting out a bit, so I gotta, get rid of the bullshit.
I'm not a loud talker.
I think the line was cutting. I just got, getting rid of bullshit, sort of like looking around, and no, I see what you're saying.
The left seems to believe what they believe. The right likes to believe what they believe. All I hear, honestly, is a bunch of indifference and hatred and bigotry and line drawing. It's my way or no way. Real courage, real courage is the strength to admit that you're not as sure as you think you are.
Yeah. Oh, it takes it. Yeah, no, I believe in that. I like what you started with. Like, I guess, in here, we're trying... Not that we have to, but they kind of bring it back towards, and I like what you were getting at, where your beliefs come from. There's this one, and it comes up with some of the agreement where it's like, sort of, I always refer to it as infinity or God. My naming I can be pretty loose with because it's about interpretation for me. So if I'm told here, and it was like, God is kind of in your heart. It's like, okay, if that's what you believe, then God is in everyone's heart, and then so they talk about objective, subjective, and don't even say one of those words I tell you. But anyways, for me, if the general agreement is that we have kind of good inside of us, that's sort of subjective. Or that's objective. And then subjective is just how you interpret the world. And by definition, since we're all the subjects, every one of us has a subjective view. Even if at the base of it there is one central truth, we're also stupid that we can't, of course, at it individually from our perspective. So from that point of view, everything is subjective, but there might be something objective underneath of that. Why do we kill each other and really slam each other home? Like you say, just because we can't agree exactly on the infinity. Like, of course, in my mind, it's like, we're not going to agree on infinity. None of us are smart enough to figure out infinity. So why bother killing each other over it? Or even just...
I hear you.
You know what I mean?
I hear you.
So after that, you talk about spaghetti monster and these kind of things, those are the things I see come up in videos. It's like, yeah, but okay, it doesn't...
It's a real religion, though, right?
That's where the organized part of it comes in, yeah.
Yeah. They got a lot of members now.
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
whatever your spiritual belief is, farce or not. I mean, everyone believes their own truth. Everyone interprets their little copy of their novel as the truth. But the fact of the matter is it's just a word of mouth story handed down time over time again. We can look at Jesus, and then we can go to the Greeks who had their own version of Jesus. The different names. Egyptians at Osiris, is basically the same tale. Word of mouth changes over time. Everyone believes what they're going to believe, and if it makes you be a better person, then I'm all for it.
Bingo. Yeah.
But the second you start judging someone else on their way of life, you're a troglodyte. You're still caveman.
It's at least in my mind you're putting negativity into the world, right?
We're all cavemen at the end of the day. I mean, if you look at our world, man, I mean, we know space, how big the universe is. From our perspective, the size of us, we're infinitesimal specks of fucking dust on a pebble floating through an infinite void. And our objective as beings has been to draw lines all over the rock. They fucking cross this line to be punished for doing it. Because we know there's finite resources on it. But pooling together, we've decided to figure out every possible way to separate from one another.
Oh, yeah.
It's religious, it's sexual, it's your color, it's your, so like my trip, man, it has no label, bro. My trip has no label. I'm on a mission of fucking self-discovery. My views come from a lot of psychedelic experiences, and a lot of people have a hard time accepting that. The left and the right, they have their views about both psychedelic
and I like all of what you said. Like exactly, I'm like I say, I look for agreement, but really like how you act in the world. It's like a vital importance. Like I can't understand why someone would believe in Zeus and follow that lifestyle, but if they're being good, it's all that matters to me, right? And I don't hope to understand why another person believes anything, because even that would take me a lifetime just to figure out why are you thinking the way you are. You know what I mean?
You can't live anybody else's life. You got to live your own life.
Exactly.
And if your truth, if your personal truth is helping you be a better person every day, man, then I think fucking power to you.
Amen.
But where I draw the line is like trying to like tell me that your truth is the only truth. I don't want to hear any of that fucking shit. You're never gonna me with a religious scripture in my hand for that reason. Because religious scripture just seems to like first thing people do with it is want to shove it down someone else's throat, man. And like my motto, I stole my life motto from Hunter Thompson, bro. It's fucking. I won't condone sex, drugs, violence, and insanity. I'm just saying it fucking works for me. That's all. And I know where I'm at, and what I'm doing, and I know what I'm putting out into the universe, and what I'm getting back for it, right? So karma comes for us all. It's just how long do you stay oblivious to it?
Yeah, I guess and what you're saying there too is like whoever you are, you have to come at it from that point of view. Like only one person named Steve can come at it from a point of view of like through psychedelic drugs and there. So you can't even do it like me, because I've actually, little one's coming here, but that's it. Every individual has to come to that truth, and then we get to like big T truth and small T truth. You gotta watch out with those languages here, William.
There is no big T truth. There is no small T truth. It's just whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever helps you sleep at night.
No. But what I mean by that was just sort of when you're talking to Christians, they put a big T on things, and that means just something slightly different. Just like when you put a big S on the word son.
I hear what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So it's just a language thing for me.
There is only one, the truth, and there is that doesn't exist for me.
Okay, I see.
I can't see your perspective. I can't feel your feelings. I don't know why your life experiences have shaped the way they made you. We can have discussions openly about these things and try to understand each other and ourselves better in turn. But that our society isn't structured that way, so I don't get to have in-depth conversations with people who are Caucasian. I find people from like Middle East and Central Europe, they're more open to have conversations. Jewish people too, they love to have conversations because the Torah is all about conversation.
Talking it out, yeah.
Great belief, more of those like an opening point of the conversation.
Yeah, no, and I just love that too. Conversation is all what it's about. As soon as you shout someone down or stop a conversation, well, then that's just drawing another line, like you're saying. We're really good at drawing lines.
I'll show people down for ignorant beliefs. You know, like I'm really tired of hearing all the anti-Muslim shit. I'll tell you that, man. You know, like I don't know a whole lot of Muslim people, but the ones I met, they're just ordinary fucking folks. You know, people, blood and bone.
No, and I understand where that comes from when you hear like really dumb comments, right?
Yeah.
But where I come from was like rural Alberta, like Bible Belt kind of Alberta, right?
Okay.
And so
That's where I am.
not only did it, you know, and of course I grew up around it, but I was that, you know, like I had to come from that point of view of just the world was about this. Oh, sorry, you're not on video. The world was very small, and and just there was no exposure. So you say really dumb things, and then I came from that, and I came out of that, and I specifically went to this city, and then a bigger city, and now I'm in Montreal, so I'm exposed to just everything all the time. So I have no excuse for ignorance. Whereas, you know, to know that me talking to myself, even, 20 years ago, would have been a tough conversation. You know what I mean? I would have been shouting myself down. I would have been slapping myself. Whereas now I know that kid, he was just saying things out of ignorance, and all he needs is just to be shown it. And so,
product of your environment. No, we're all
absolutely. And so, but the only way that I could get out of that really was to find Montreal, where it's just an ultimate tolerance. Even that, I didn't get shouted down, but just sort of like talked down. Like I would have still said dumb things, even though I thought I was like so open-minded and stuff. I still didn't know nothing about nothing, right? I knew Africa was made up of several countries, but details about that, fuck it. And once I knew that, then it's like, wow, the world is much different. So it was, if I have to forgive someone else their ignorance, because I have to forgive myself of my ignorances. You know what I mean? So that's why I wouldn't shout. But this is what I'm getting at. We're not going to agree on anything, everything. Like just that, just the one truth thing. I'm sort of in the mind if there's a one kind of truth in the background somewhere that we just can't even see. But when you talk about like individual experiences and each person has their own truth, 100% agreement. Like I think that's where we're just a language issue between, say, once you get into the rest of the group, they'll be saying, no, there's one truth, and you'll be saying, no, there's many truths. But actually, I think we're saying the same damn thing. It's just like every person, obviously, they have a different experience. They come from someone different, so they look at the world differently.
Yeah.
That's
what I mean, man. You can have your truth, and your truth is yours and yours alone, and that's what people don't get.
Yeah.
And that's where religion fails completely, because especially Christian or any Judeo religion, because propagate comes from the church, propagate the state. It's all it is, man. It's just all propaganda. It's keep this fucking system going. This system that's subjugated and minoritized so many individuals based on a ridiculous amount of things. At the end of the day, we're all people. Homosexual, heterosexual, black, Chinese. It doesn't fucking matter, man. If I punch you in the mouth, you're gonna bleed.
Oh yeah, no, and
that's how it is. We're all born with the same holes in our hearts, man.
Yeah, but I get you. Yeah, we're all and I get you when it comes to the church. Like I'm just really trying to divide the different things. Like we're talking about, everyday kind of how you act with one another. And I'm telling you, I, and everyone in the group will agree on that. It's like what's most base important is how you act to the world. After that, then we start talking about what the universe, the meaning of the universe is. And then we get in these like mind-blowingly arguments that don't mean anything really. Because who cares if it was Zeus, the spaghetti, like not who cares, but tomorrow when I go to work, that's not what drives my day. It's being good to that person in front of me. So everyone's trying to be good. And then we get in these wicked, weird arguments because of where everything comes from or what's underlying this thing. And we all try and, in my mind, we're all trying to argue about infinity. It's like, what is infinity? And it's like, at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what? I try and say that at the beginning of the day, too.
Infinity
I have no idea.
And I can never. God these days, man.
Right?
It's just a term to explain something you don't understand.
That's it.
We're God. Oh. Right? To me, God is just an insentient machine, literally. That's all my God is. Insentient machine that wanted to be admired.
There you go.
Why else Well, a universe without life is lifeless. You know, there's no one to admire. This is just, from my perspective, man, you know, this is just an ongoing event.
And that's good. No, that's a good start. Okay, now I got it.
We're all just a subjective experience of it.
And now I'm going to hit you with the questions that they're going to hit you with. No, but seriously, like, okay, so there isn't a, well, I'll have to read that. But anyways, you have your definition of God like that. Now, how do you, personally, make choices between right and wrong? And I'm not saying, like, you have to link them, because I doubt you would, but how do you, you know what I mean?
I apply everything to my life. And not rules set out by other men. You know, society rules mean nothing. And I have very little respect for people who abide by most of society's rules, because society isn't structured to bring human beings together. It's structured to divide us. It's why we're so subdivided by race, color, sexuality, creed, and all these fucking things that don't matter. All that should matter is what you're capable of, and are you a decent fucking person? You know?
Yeah. Just pause. William, oui, qu'est-ce que tu cherches?
Yeah, we don't base a human's worth on the things that matter. Your worth is based on what you own, what you have, not what you're capable of. Not.
I know, and I think it's going in there too. Like, it's like those laws don't necessarily mean right and wrong, and I think we're good on that, because throughout history, at least society, like even if we get away from religion, society itself has made up some pretty fucked up laws and still has them that, exactly like you say, just create lines, create divisions, and whereas. Yeah. I agree with you. I like that one point you said. It was like your life's goal is trying to break that shit down, break down those borders, break down those lines. Je sais pas, William, tu les as mis ici l'autre fois. Peut-être par là. Ah oui, par là, dans la boîte là.
Sorry, so you know, more compassion and patience. Like you know, the Islam comes with a lot of guys, and I mean, you know, violence breeds violence. You know, intolerance breeds hatred. You know, the only way to solve the problem is to offer love.
Yeah.
You know, just take the shit and offer love in return, man. You know, it's all you can do.
Offer
because
love.
I mean, no war has ended all wars yet, has it? You know, like killing people just breeds more death. You know, intolerance just keeps breeding more conflict.
For sure. Offer love. Right?
That's great. The entire world is mad. The entire world is obviously fucking mad, because I think as an individual, there isn't anyone who couldn't say, you know, that you couldn't ask, you know, is war is wrong, war is evil, but yet it continues to take place.
Yeah.
And we allow it as individuals, because our 9-to-5 bullshit ideology of what we're supposed to be doing with our puppet little fucking lives, you know, it's so, you're all just so zoned on my wife, my kids, my hardwood fucking floor.
Yeah.
To take 5 minutes to talk to one another about why everything is so fucked up, right? So I think what you guys are doing, at least with your podcast here and your video, I think it's great, regardless of the feelings you have. Like a good conversation.
And that's just it. And Sean said almost exactly what you just said. Like, you know, just fuck that 9-to-5 shit. We need to have these conversations to solve this stuff. I think he said that like in the video today even. Dang. But it was just that exact same sentiment. It was just like, for him, he wants to just talk about that stuff. And like you say, there's this point of view that it's like,
things that are wrong, man.
It might not even be the way you want to talk about it, but for me, that's the free speech thing. That's why I don't want to yell people down. I want everyone to let their thing out, and at least we can see it. And at least it's all out there, right?
I don't know about everybody, man. There's some dumb motherfuckers, you know.
There are, but we have to ridicule them into the shadows. It was like that, what was that one? The West Baptists. You know that one? Do you remember those guys?
People need more education. That's it, man.
No, but do you remember the West Baptist Church? They would come out with these big neon signs that says, God hates fags.
Oh,
you remember those guys? You remember those guys?
Those exact people are sitting around waiting for some fucking fatherly eye in the sky to come and save
No, I know, no. But what I'm saying, Steve, what I'm saying.
here on Earth. It's time for everybody to open their eyes and make a fist. It's
Absolutely.
like waiting for some father figure to come solve your fucking problem.
Absolutely. Hey, Steve, I'm in agreement with you, but my point is different than that. My point is more that how would we be able to talk about people like that unless they were able to say that bullshit, that batshit crazy stuff? And so what I want is to know, And so that if those guys, and they were hanging around in the shadows for a long time, the West Baptist types, they came out and got just slammed and ridiculed, so that the reason why, again, someone in a teenager in that family was to be like, holy Christ, I do not want to be a part of that. And all of a sudden, that sort of attitude diminishes because it's out in the light. It's like the only way to sanitize this stuff is to bring it out.
No, man. It's teaching people to be intolerant.
No, but yes, I understand their message is intolerance. My message is free speech in order to hear intolerance, in order to quash it. Because if we don't hear it, we have no idea it exists. It's like
ridiculing people for their beliefs. I don't think that's going to work.
Well, what do we do to West Baptists then?
Patience. And, I mean, there's this guy, this black guy in America, right? And what he does is he keeps up with, like, KKK active ones, And, I mean, watch one of those videos. I forget the guy's name, man. It's crazy. I mean, he sits down as an hour conversation with a guy, and literally, without hatred or intolerance or ridicule, he just has a conversation with a guy, starts explaining some things to him, and before you know it, at the end, he's like having a hug with the guy, and the guy's like, my whole life's a fucking lie. And it's insane to watch. And it's all just through education and being patient, passionate with somebody, instead of being intolerant. Like, your view is so stupid. Why don't you believe what we all believe? Now you sound like the fucking church, right? Like, I'm so sick and tired of all that shit. What we've been doing isn't working. It is not working. Society is fucked. If you look out the window and you don't see that this whole shindig is fucked, every day, then then you're probably part of the fucking problem, right? Because 40 million Canadians all know the government's fucking them right now, except for a handful of people who are actually deep-dicking each and every one of us. Everybody knows they're getting fucked. You're getting fucked by the government one way or another. Everybody does. No one does a fucking thing about it. Aren't we supposed to institute some sort of organization to protect our personal safeties and shit? I don't understand why all humans are so complacent.
We're just we have no power. Are you kidding me? It's the powerless. I mean, it would be nice if we had power to change what we wanted. But
each and every one of us has power, man.
We would, but you get worked into a doze. Like, you work 9 to 5. You have no time to think about revolution or what should the society be. You have to figure out.
That's it right there, though. That's it. That's what's stopping you. 9 to 5, and all you need to do is just stop 9 to 5. Figure out a way to convince 30 million Canadians not to go to work for one fucking day, man, and shut this whole fucking thing down permanently. All the corporations bow to our will. See, that's the thing. We walk around trying to bow to the will of the corporations and the dicks bringing jobs into our country and exploiting our resources, when in actuality, man, if all of us just stop buying their shit and going to fucking work, they're our slaves, man. Worker bees can leave. Even drones can fly away. The queen is their slave.
Yeah. No, and I think that, when I look at that side of thing, like you say, this sort of, we need time to think. Because as it is, we've come to a point in time, just this society, where we actually have that choice to go to Best Buy to get something. And if we don't, we would have time to really think about stuff. But whereas 95% of the world doesn't even have that much time to think about stuff. And so the ignorance that comes out, when I was coming from a rural community, I mean, my dad's working 60 hours a week, right? His dad was working 70 hours a week. And so that kind of just, you're working yourself to your bone. The ignorance and just the not knowing what's going on and how you're being ripped off, because you're just working for tomorrow. So the fact that they would say dumb things, the fact that they wouldn't see what is better for them in terms of how they could live their lives, was not, in my mind, again, it's systemic, but how can I blame my grandfather for, he was just trying to feed his 4 kids, right? It's that kind of thing, the time to think, though, and I think that revolution is more like that. If everyone took that day off and just thought about their neighbor, all of a sudden we would have peace. If everyone took that day off and studied something about another country, then we would have that peace. But also get back to your point, you get all angry and stuff. It's offering love, when we get to that point of just should we send a bomb or a package of food? It's the same thing to me, that guy you're talking about. And I think it might be the same one. It was a black guy in the States that was talking to KKK members. Is that the guy you're talking about? Yeah. And it was and it's just that face to face with someone that you would, I think, Steve, and I would certainly shout down and follow him home and just keep shouting so that no one could hear what he had to say. Whereas that guy you're talking about, he's got the solution, offer love.
Yeah,
even on a personal level,
patient.
especially on a personal level.
Right.
But you have to have that time to make those conversations too. Like you say, once we're working our bones to the nuts, no, whatever.
There's
You know, we don't have
there's-
time even to make that conversation. But after that, it's the attitude.
point to
Offer
that,
love,
though, man.
offer love, yeah.
It only matters if people want to hear it, though.
For sure,
You can
for
talk
sure.
to somebody all you want. It doesn't matter if they don't want to hear it.
But
They
I
don't
can't
want to
yell.
hear
Like,
it.
I'm not going to yell at the KKK after watching that video. I'm going to try and do what that guy did. You know, in a way,
Yeah, I
like
hear
just
ya.
get into his
I hear
mind
ya,
and just say, "Hey, man, I'm a human too. I'm just this liberal nutcase or something." Or I'm not really. I'm like a freaking. I moved from Alberta, right? So when I go back there, I'm a commie. When I'm out here, I'm a freaking. You know, I'm a conservative. Like I fit in nowhere
in
now.
Southern Alberta right now, man.
You're in Alberta?
I'm like public enemy number one in favor.
Oh, for sure.
Because, you know, I'm out and someone says something really fucking stupid or ignorant or racist. I mean, people out here in Alberta, they say the most racist shit I've ever heard in my fucking life. For real. I've spent some time with a lot of gangs, too, and I'll tell you.
Don't
like,
have to tell me. You don't have to tell me. But again, I know that there's hope for them. Because there's hope for me.
I don't know about that, man.
There's hope for me. Otherwise, I'm a racist asshole too. Because I grew up. I am a racist redneck. Otherwise, if there's no hope for those racist rednecks, there's no hope for me. Because I'm one of
I don't think
them.
there's any hope for our species, dude. I mean,
That's true. Actually, I can agree with you on that one.
Over.
That's true.
Me personally, man, I'm just gonna enjoy what time I have. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm completely partisan revolutionary.
Yeah.
Some guy shows up and says, you know, let's take this shit out, starts chucking rocks. I'm gonna be the first guy there throwing stones with him. For real, I will be.
You'll be up there.
You know, at the end of the day, man, I'm just as comfortable kicking back and sexing my lovelies for the rest of my life, dude. I mean, like, life's way too short to be worrying about everybody else and their fucking trip anymore. I'm a firm believer that we create our heaven or hell right here, right
On
now,
Earth, yeah.
with our lives. And that's what I'm doing, bro.
No, but you're throwing rocks. You're throwing rocks.
I'm creating my own personal fucking heaven. And my heaven, you know, is different than everybody else's. I'm certain, you know, because, you know, I want my heaven to have blackjack and hookers. But that each individual person needs to find their own fucking truth, their own thing that makes them happy. Because life is a shit fucking sandwich, like start to fucking finish, you know? For me personally, man, I'm not happy unless I'm fucked up and balls deep in something. And the older I get, the more I want to just, that's it, you know? So that's where I'm at in my life trip. I'm not saying that it's for everybody, you know? Everybody's on their own trip. Everybody has to find their own spiritual truth. What they believe, it works for them to make them a better person.
To make them a better person, yes. Because otherwise, you know, you say that and then it opens it up to like, well, if you're allowed to do anything. But no, it's what you say. It's like what your guiding principle is the same freaking golden rule as everyone's, right? So guided with that, in my mind, you know, that revolution that you're talking about, that goes against it. Like guided by that, where heaven is what you create on earth. Throwing a rock at someone else's face, well, that becomes your heaven then, or your hell, because that's what you create here on earth, no?
Yeah, it's the real moral conundrum, you know. Because,
but I understand your frustration with society.
The way I look at the world, man, you know, like I love my life. I got extra paper. I've got beautiful women in my life. I got all the things that I need. Healthy kids, intelligent. Life's good, right? But at the same time, I want that for everybody. I don't care what color they are, what race they are. See, we've never known a world where everybody was comfortable. I would like to see a world where everyone doesn't have to worry about food or disease or education or money or a roof over their head. And then I'd like to see how fucking intolerant everyone is. When we're all being provided for. Then let's throw it out there what we don't like about each other when we're all fucking comfortable. Because I'm sure if everybody was a lot more comfortable in life right now, we'd have a lot less fucking complaints about what everyone else has or doesn't have if everything was all just kind of fucking equalized, you know? But again, then it sounds like communism, and communism doesn't work. We all know communism doesn't fucking work. Capitalism doesn't fucking work. Everything sounds good. But at the end of the day, people are just gonna fuck it all up anyways, man. So I mean, find what makes you happy and do that. if you're not doing what makes you happy, then that is the only sin I know of. Like, if you believe something to be wrong and you do it anyways, that's what I believe to be a sin. You know? If you're not pursuing what makes you happy in life, within reason, I mean, like, you know, Jeffrey Dahmer got off on fucking killing people, but that's not good. But I mean, you know, like, if you know, find what makes you happy and fucking let it kill you, you know? Yeah. I mean, fuck, what else is there in life, dog?
And that's it. Put a little thing on there like, make you happy and don't hurt anyone else. And boom, you've got like a life philosophy, right? And then, no, I'm totally with you. Like, in all that labels shit, like you say, communism, this thing, what I see is just like, don't even call it that. You see right now, what is it in Yemen? Yemen or South Sudan, 8 million people, I think it's in Yemen, at risk of starving right now. Like right today, right now. All we have to do is ship like, you know, 1 million tons of grain over there. What is that called? Communism? Or is that just called fucking being a human being? And when, as you say, what makes me happy is trying to feed people that are hungry. So absolutely, I'm fully on board with what you say. What makes me happy is trying to get people in Yemen some food right now. So whatever makes you happy, as long as you're not hurting other people, because right now, people with power are those fucking Jeffrey Dahmers. Right now we have like a little tiny number of people in power, and somehow some Jeffrey Dahmers get in there and starve 8 million people to death.
There's no one in control, dude. There is no one in control. That is the problem. Okay?
I think there's a few people pushing some buttons. Yeah.
These are faceless corporations, and they're only driven by one thing: making money for their stockholders, not losing their stock value. A faceless corporation only cares about profit. There is no one in control anymore because the corporations are what is in control. The corporations aren't people. They're machines built to create profit. And unless people do something about these faceless machines that just eat and destroy everything fucking around them in the name of third quarter profit, you know, that's the problem. But no one wants to find the time to do that shit.
Well, because at each level of that, I think you hit it on the head.
The people who know don't care, and the people who care don't know, you know? Well, but no one is in control. Don't kid yourself with some ulterior puppet master controlling things, Donald Trump and his lackeys. They have no fucking control at all, man. None of those people have control, not even the banking cartel has control.
I don't talk about like full control of anything. No, what I'm talking
generating profit. You know, that's the problem. They have no soul. There's no person.
When I say that the people that those, I think that there's like 95% of people that don't even play part of the game in which there are global elements to it. Those people that are playing the game, I agree with you, are part of these organizations. And while it might be like 0.5% of the world's population, these organizations are organized such that no one individual has the responsibility for doing that big thing. Right. And so each one can say, I'm not really doing the bad thing. I'm the next guy on the line is pressing the button. And so that's exactly what you're saying. But what I'm saying is that there's only like, I don't know, 1,000 or 1 million people up there at the top doing this shit. Whereas me working on the farm, I have absolutely no access to that. So when I'm talking about just the few, I'm just saying that there's an oligarchy of people within this corporate structure that you're talking about that allows for no individual to be perfectly evil, but that every single one of them has a motive, probably financial, to continue it on. And so that's what I mean, is that we are controlled by that. So, but there is definitely people controlling that for their own self-interest, and that have a self-interest not to let it fail.
It isn't self-interest, though. They're just people. They have mortgage payments. They're trying to 9 to 5 like the rest of us. And that's the problem right there, is that no one is in control. The people who are letting shit slide by, they're just doing their fucking job. The corporation is laid out what their job is to do, and the second they don't do it, they just get replaced and someone else fills that position.
There it is. Okay, so I guess maybe I could put it just a slightly different way, is that though there are only, say, 1 million people in the world that could do something about it, and they would all have to act together to not do something about it. Each individual, one of those ones, like if Trump says, no, I'm not going to play a part anymore, it's like the game would go on. Every single one of those 1 million people would have to say stop, and then it would stop. But that's the problem. Absolutely. The problem is that no one person can be a whistleblower and that stops it. Like Edward Snowden was one of, he was part of the problem. But him stepping out did nothing to the problem.
Edward Snowden was paid and bought, dude. Don't kid yourself. He classified information that basically would have put Dick Cheney, Rumsfeld, George Bush, Obama, all of them in prison for the rest of their lives. All of those videos, all of that information, that's war crime. Real war crime. And no one person was charged or persecuted for any of that. Don't fucking kid yourself, dude.
What am I kidding myself? I was just giving it as an example of one person tries to turn against the system and it doesn't work. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, no, you don't do something like that and not wind up dead, man. For real. Like that,
okay.
That was all just,
well, I don't know. This starts to get into that realm, though, Steve, of explaining things that are far too big for me to explain. So if you want to give me an explanation for what happened, that's okay, but that's not what I'm looking for here. And I don't know if, you and me and 1,000 people could tell you what. But I see what you're saying. It's not a good example, perhaps, of whatever. All I'm saying is that there's this, oligarchy, and that it is in that corporate structure, as you said, that no one person can stop it. If, everyone in the corporation suddenly went on strike, perhaps it would stop. Or if we, I don't even think dropping a bomb in financial, Wall Street would work. It's just the thing is a mind of its own, so how to stop it? I don't know. But I see there's a problem. I agree. Yeah.
That's what a corporation is, man. It's just a binder. It's a bunch of fucking words on paper. That is the problem. It has no moral. It has no emotion. It has no feeling. It has no compassion. Okay. All it does is generate profit. And when its profits are threatened, it does whatever it takes to make sure it continues to make profit.
Okay.
Whether that
be
subjugating human life, subjugating human beings, toxic chemicals. I mean, every time you hear about these atrocious things, it's not a person who's done it. It's a corporation behind it. It's ExxonMobil. It's fucking Valdez. It's fucking these fluorocytochemical guys, Montesorno or whatever. It's a corporation, right?
Yeah. And that's actually a good example, because then it becomes, how can we possibly go away? How can we step away from that? What can we do? We can't just, like you say, you might just throw shit to the wind, maybe, or we might just throw shit to the wind. But in the sort of sense, you make me think of the example of the armored personnel carriers. There was a company, and I think it was a Canadian company, who wanted to sell them to, maybe it was Yemen again. I just keep saying Yemen, but now I think it's Yemen. And so they're selling these things, and for wherever it was, it might not have been Yemen, but for use in sort of civilian rescue or something like that. And then they found out that they're going to be used in some other reason. So the Canadian government came in and says, no, you guys can't sell that to them. So it's just an example of, again, the corporation has this blind interest just to make money. Hey, we sold another 1,000 things. Whereas the solution might be, again, just control that blind corporate need, just like they cut up the rail industry, just like you cut up monopolies, just trying to restrict a little bit more that beast that is the corporation, like you say. But how to do it? Again, we can't burn it down. I think it's going to take step by step to get there. Yeah, but I agree, there's a problem for sure.
Yeah, profit is greater than human life. That's the problem. Profit weighs is heavier than human life is, right?
Have you ever seen the calculations of what a human life is worth? Governments will do that. It's gross.
I don't know.
It exists. I'm serious. It exists. It's like $40,000 or something.
If you sold off all the organs and everything?
No. What a government is kind of willing to pay per citizen, almost, in terms of
really?
Some shit like this, right? In terms of say someone's in. I don't know how they would calculate it exactly, but I'm thinking of examples whoops, there's a war-torn region or a sudden disaster and they have to pull out Canadian citizens. How much are they going to be able to spend to pull out those citizens? That kind of thing. There's a limit. And so there's this calculation. It's whoops, a human is worth dollars. In certain situations, it's obvious, right? It's gross.
Yeah, it is, man. It is, for real. But, and the things that people will do for them.
Cool beans. No, I'm enjoying this. I'm getting a little bit worked up, and it's yes, this is 15 podcasts worth of intro. I've got to read back on this or look back on this. But hey, you're on the road, eh? Do you want to meet up? Do you want to do a proper video soon?
Sure, man. I got to go into Costco and get a pizza, go home, do the supper, hang out with the wife and kids thing. But if you want to chat it up a bit later tonight or tomorrow, I'm off school all next week.
Yeah.
And then the week after, I'm going back to classes again. I got injured pretty badly at work, and then I'm.
Ouch. Okay, well, Fuck, man, that sucks. Jeez, that's a whole topic into itself. But yeah, no, I'll be up late. Like I'll just be around if you follow. There's like no scheduled things. Frank and I will probably go on for a little while around 11, but we'll.
If you want to do a video chat later, man, just shoot me a text. You got my number. Give me a call. Whatever works for you. Let me know. And if I got some time, I'm not fucking around doing something else. I'm totally down. I'm always down, man, because the only way we can learn anything is to talk to one another. I'm a firm believer that you can learn something, but even if it's what not to do.
Exactly. I love that last point. Oh, that's a beautiful point to learn on. Yeah, no, just talk it out. Even if it's to learn what I don't want to do, it's worth the conversation, man. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The more I talk to people, that's all I really learn anymore is what I don't want to do, what I don't want to think. But, hey, it's all educational, right? I mean,
for sure.
I just, one of my professors I just had in class, he's a Hindu guy from India. I mean, I never met somebody from India who knew so much about their own culture and religion. It was actually really interesting to learn of it.
Super funny.
That post there, one of the guys accused me, so I had an interesting conversation with them. I actually like their belief structure where there is no one God.
The Hindu thing?
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's not what I believe, but there's parts that are kind of cuckoo cuckoo. I am you, you are me, we are all together, and that's really where I'm at. You want to label my religion? I follow the Beatles, cuckoo cuckoo.
And that's all right, but I I have a good Indian friend, and he's he tells me about just sort of the culture and the sort of the way they go about secularism, and basically it's you celebrate everything. Everyone celebrates fucking Christmas, everyone celebrates, not Hanukkah, but everyone celebrates everyone's shit. And so you're just always having feasts all the time, and it's wait, that sounds pretty goddamn awesome, put up whatever, you know what I mean? All it is just about culture and bringing together. So it's not we better not have any religious holidays. It's just no, let's have all the religious holidays. And just all right, man, you're cool, I'm cool. At least we're partying together, even if we don't end up agreeing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, India's pretty cool in some ways, for sure. Or in a lot of ways, I mean.
Like this, there's a billion Indians in India, right? So at this point now, with that many people living there, Indians are forced to travel all over the world now because there's a billion of them. They're everywhere. So now as an Indian, you're no longer Indian. He said he's a global citizen now.
Oh yeah, and it's all
he's there now.
India's
we're all global citizens, right? We're just trying to figure out this global thing, act globally thing.
It is true.
And the scary part is how close we are to fucking things up beyond repair. We could do something about the condition of society now and do something about it for the rest of us, for the future generations. But I feel like if we don't do something soon, there is no hope for future generations.
Yeah.
The fossil fuel thing is out of control. Corporate control of resources is out of control. The way copyright material is being used to isolate technology that would literally advance our species thousands of years into the future, but because it isn't profitable for limitless energy, it isn't something that people are going to be given, right? Because if electricity is free, then how are we going to bill people for things?
Yeah, that's a sick one. I understand what you're meaning there. So basically, you're saying move out of the city and learn how to grow your own food. Is that what that's where you're coming around to?
No, I'm not saying move out of the city, man. I'm just saying, pack a go bag. Always be ready to flee. Always be ready to flee. Because I don't believe this system can keep up doing what it's doing. I really don't.
It's not.
When I read, what Warren Buffett's saying, what a lot of the really very, very powerful philanthropists worldwide are saying, they don't give the global economy much a couple of years with the system that's working right now because it's not working. And all of our lives are dependent on this fucking flawed system. Because if the dollar is worth nothing tomorrow, we're going to be experiencing fucking Rick and Morty. Who's paying me to yell at this guy? Right?
Oh gosh. Yeah, no, I know. I studied in finance. I know what they're talking about, but again, you hope that it kind of gets fixed before that happens, because if it does, that's the one that's going to do it. If we figure out what the dollar's actually worth, that's scary.
Everyone's been hoping for too long. You know,
Yeah, no, but I mean, just like once
gonna,
people figure out what the dollar is worth, then we're in trouble. But right now they don't know. They think it's worth the dollar.
right now they don't know. Right now people
dollar.
don't realize how money comes into existence. You know, it's scary how money.
It's really scary. I agree with you on that one. Oh man, so we better just keep this up while Facebook is still live. While we still have electricity, we might as well post some videos, right?
Right?
That's about it, right? That's what you were saying. Just fucking let's party because it's not going to last.
Social media has become an outlet for complacency, though, too, you know, because now we post our memes of social injustice and we make our little videos and we have a fucking chat. But what are we accomplishing by this, you know?
Yeah. No, and I definitely, when I'm doing this, it's just like, and me and Frank go over that. They think, you know, or some of them may, well, anyways, me and Frank are like, no one's watching this. Basically, it's just for us, for our own kind of, if you want to put it, our own spiritual good, right? Having these conversations, opening our minds a bit. Because otherwise, like you say, I looked on the YouTube page that I made, 0 views all the way down. I love it. It's like a point of pride, right? No one's even watching this shit. I put them all public and no one fucking, and that's, it just so there's not a meme, you know, like I'm not sharing it with I'm not sharing it, I'm just putting it there.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? So, but exactly what you say, like what the use of this shit is, and how maybe I should be talking to my son instead of,
you know.
But you know, for sure. Like
I recently had like a life-changing injury at work. You know, I was like a sheet metal mechanic, right?
Oh no!
I had my leg destroyed by like a job injury.
Fuck.
So now I'm like facing like at midlife. You know, I'm 36 now. I'm facing like a career change. All I know is construction.
Yeah.
So now I have to get an office job.
Yeah.
Really fucked up for me, man. You know, I don't want to work in an office. I don't want to have to like people because, you know, I'll have this conversation with you and we can have conversations with lots of people, but there's always that one ignorant, belligerent, I'm just going to be an uppity dick because I feel like fucking being that guy today. You know, I don't take shit from people like that. I call them right out on it and tell them to start behaving properly.
Yeah.
You know, someone's going to fucking point a finger and shake it in your face. I'm the first guy to fucking do it. But in the 9 to 5, you know, make a career for your life, that doesn't fucking work, man. So I don't see this going well for me. So I'm starting to think, like, what do I want to do with my life now? You know, and I've come to a realization of action. It's just I have to do more research on how to do it. I want to create a charity. Right here. That's what I want to do, man. I want to stop talking about things. I want to do something.
Oh, that was you. You posted like sort of a career path towards sort of. Anyways, no. I see what you're saying, but hey, you know what I figured out? These 9 to 5s, they're going the way of the dinosaur. Like I'm trying to get out of the office because now almost everything you can do from wherever you want. Like if you pick the right field, you do it from the Wi-Fi connection where you're at, you know. That's where I'm going to. I'm going to a beach. I'm going to work.
Right.
You know what? I'm going to a beach somewhere, but I'm going to do the same job. But yeah,
you know,
that's it.
I want to make a charity though, man, and get winter tires for low-income families in Canada. I'm actually pursuing that. I'm reading about how to form a charity now, and I think
nice. Yeah. Well, hey,
you know, in Canada,
awesome,
I think winter tires is like owning a fucking toque and a winter jacket. You know, everyone should have winter tires on their car.
Oh yeah,
Everyone.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Hey, man, but what are you in school for, though? You're in which?
WCB didn't like my chosen career choice, so they told me they weren't going to pay for me to go to school. Okay. So they told me that I have to become a dispatcher because I have, I guess they decided I have experience doing that. But WCB is like a conversation for another day. Oh. You guys want to have a conversation about like government agencies?
Oh my God.
You know, I've got a 6-hour conversation because 2 years ago, it was almost due. It's September 2016. My leg got destroyed. I have CRIP, complex regional pain. So the nerve in my foot is always sending a pain signal. So I live in pain 24 hours a day. The only other option I have. It made me a bit of a prick, right? I'm a bit of a brash prick now because I'm in pain all the time, and people are intolerant of pricks. So I'm a bit of a dick. I was a bit of a dick to begin with. This just made me more dickish because I'm in pain all the time now. But the only thing I can do is take like opioid fucking pills for it, and or smoke weed, and I'm not as much of a dick when I'm baked. But I can't take opioids for the rest of my life. I walk around fucked up all the time. No. I take one of those Percocets. I'm asleep for like 15 fucking hours. It makes my skin seething at my pores. You know, I can't do it, right? So I just gotta like tough it out and be in fucking pain all the time. And
Fuck.
it's a new experience, you know. At midlife, 36, find a new career. I put 10 years into sheet metal, so it's you know, it's fucking different. You know, I'm on a weird trip right now because like, you know, most guys right now, 36 to 40, they're gonna do the midlife crisis thing, buy a Camaro, Corvette, leave their wife, find a young secretary. I don't fucking know. Yeah. You know, me, I'm like freaking out because like I put all my time and efforts into being like this great tradesman. And don't get me wrong, I fucking am. I can say that without pride and ego. I'm a great fucking tradesman. I do good work with steel. Mm-hmm. But now I can't. Like, I'm uninsurable when it comes to construction sites. So if I can't be insured on a construction site, WCD fuck me royally and proper. Fuck. But, you know, I can't even go into into safety because I can't be insured to go on a construction site anymore. So what the fuck do I do with my life now? I have no transferable skills. I'm good at being a dick, you know, and carrying heavy things and beating metal with a hammer.
I think
in an office all together, and you basically have a copy, you know, a real life episode of fucking Zorn, right? Because like, I'm gonna be that guy sitting there fucking just retarded, and I can't. My wife works in an office, and like I see when I go in there, there's like 40-year-old people behaving like they're in fucking. You know,
oh
like,
god, you wouldn't last a second. You wouldn't last a second.
Right. Yeah. So you know, I'm at like a real crossroads in my life, right?
For
what
sure.
The fuck you doing? You know?
Well, that's where, like, you know, and especially with the close ones, you know, I come to those ones. I gotta realize the power of family more recently and that kind of thing. Like, sort of, they're all back in Alberta, but maybe I should call them more often, you know, just to talk that shit out, just to realize like what that next step is. But after that, no, you make me think. I'm like, fuck. Now we're gonna talk about the existence of God with someone who's in constant pain, and say, like, I'm in constant pain. Tell me what God is.
Sorry. You know, God doesn't have anything to do with that. I'm in constant pain because
of this thing, right?
Were permanently damaged, and now they're sending improper signals. And over time, with mirror therapy and hopefully magic mushroom treatment, I'm reducing the things that I have.
But someone's going to tell you demons and angels.
Well, demons and angels. I don't know about that stuff, bro. You know,
I'm joking.
I do believe in a higher dimension. You know, I believe in like a fourth dimension, and I believe
dimensions. Me and Frank got into dimensions.
Fourth dimension, and possibly from our perspective, interactions with a fourth dimensional being they perceive like, oh, this is a godly being. But you know, to me, it's just a life form that I don't understand.
Oh my god, you got to catch some. Frank and I started off really early with this like dimensional thing. Where, because in math, or in different physics theories, there's M theory, string theory, there's another one, so you get either 10, 11, or 26 dimensions. According to the theory, those hold together consistently. Of course, those are theories on infinity, right? But we're like 3 and 4 dimensions, right? Martin?
The D-wave broke all those, though. Like, string theory none of them work anymore because the D-wave is real. D-wave quantum tunneling means that you and I are having this conversation in multiple dimension, universe, planes of existence right now, where something is just slightly different. And then there's even, you know, infinite versions where you don't exist, where I don't exist, where we're talking about something different. You know, I mean, like, if anything, man, that kind of makes me think of, like, Douglas Adams in a way. You know, like, we're all just kind of like cogs in a machine contemplating everything, like thoughts, you know, like you will go into the machine and you will live lives and, you know, 42, man, 42.
Sure. No, and and those kind of things, they go a bit over my head, but when we got into the dimensions, like I say, those theories, but all I was saying was that there are many more dimensions above the 3 physical and perhaps 1 time dimension that we can conceive of. And then when we go up to 26 dimensions, it's so just ridiculous to imagine what it looks like, that what we tried to do is go down a dimension and just to see what a 2-dimensional being would feel like, perhaps communicating with a 3-dimensional being.
It's funny that...
And it was just like, wow, it blew mind-blowing to see how, you know, and a 1-dimensional being is a speck. So for a 1-dimensional being, a 2-dimensional being is on a line. No, sorry, where we're at. A 1-dimensional being on a line. infinity for him is a piece of paper. Like a piece of paper is infinite for him, right? And so infinite for a 5-dimensional, like all of time and space is a speck. And that's what we call infinity. So that's where we get to. And these dimensional, especially with mathematics, that's what works well for me. Like I see your thing about, you mentioned an author, I forgot his name though. Bertrand Russell? No, what did you say?
No, Hunter Thompson.
Hunter Thompson, right. Hunter Thompson. Anyways, I think that was the psychedelic one that went down to Vegas or something. I watched the movie. Yeah, that's right. Yep. I watched the movie. Yeah. But anyways, no, dimensionality. I think we're going to have some good conversations.
Yeah, my belief on the whole dimensionality thing, dude, right, is it's kind of like an ongoing thing with organized religion too, right? Is that freedom of choice is the powerful thing that each and every one of us has, right? Mm-hmm. So here we are in this plane of existence right here. The D-Wave shows that we also exist in multiple planes of existence at the exact same time, where things are just slightly different. Okay, mm-hmm. So quantum tunneling, right? So to me, I take that as each choice that you and I make and every other individual makes impacts the universe, the plane of existence that they exist in right there. So everything is all happening all at once. You make the decision to, you make the decision not to, and you also make the decision to do nothing. Plus, you make the decision of not existing by not existing in other planes of existence. And so what I've taken from that is that all the shitty fucking mistakes I've made in my life, all these terrible fucking mistakes I've made, there's a version of me out there who's made all the perfect choices, the ultimate Steve. He's the fucking one true Steve, you know. He's made all the perfect godlike decisions and secured and done and created perfection in himself. And I take solace in all the shit in my life, knowing that one perfect version of myself is out there. And,
no, that's good. That's nice. That's nice.
Is continue to make shitty mistakes so that he makes all the right ones, man. Because that's my personal belief.
No, there was one, and that's like these are the sort of like links that I would have only made in this group. There's this one like thinker about apologetics, Christian apologetics, and he was making this argument for God, saying, well, if the universe is infinite, there are infinite possibilities. So just kind of going on what you're saying, and if there's infinite possibilities, an infinite God is one of those possibilities. Therefore, an infinite God exists. It's like right along the line of what you're saying, and I would even take it one step further. In one of those universes, there's an infinite God, and Steve is the reincarnation of that God.
Probably. My infinite version of Steve is that dude, right? I mean,
that's what you want to be, and
I'd like to think that each one of us has that own infinitesimal version of themselves. You know, I think that's what a lot of like religious scripture was actually intended to relay to us. You know, you are God of your world. No one impacts the bliss you feel in your life. You either feel happy, you choose to feel happy regardless of what's happening in your life, or you choose to be impacted in a negative way by it. Me personally, man, since being in pain all the time, I've learned so much about the limbic system that I'm just not needing it. I know what my limbic system is. I know how it responds to things in my life. I know what it's there for. I know when to listen to it now and when not to. And, and our limbic system is being assaulted daily by the news, media, negative. The human mind wants to go to negative instantly. It's like a self-protection thing, right? The limbic system. You need to constantly be subconsciously assessing everything in your life. Well, is it life-threatening? That's hardwired into you through a process of evolution. You just can't, cellular memory, right?
Yeah, so it's like a fight or flight almost. Like you just want to immediately go just to protect yourself.
That's right.
Oh, interesting. And like, you can. That's
doctor explained it to me like this, man. He's an Australian guy, okay? So he went walking in the woods, or in the outback in Australia, right? He was in his sandals, he's with his friends, and he felt like a little scratch on his foot. It felt like nothing, like, oh my, just a little scratch, like maybe a stick had gotten him. What had actually happened was one of the deadliest snakes in the world had bit the side of his foot.
Holy shit.
He almost died from this snake bite, right? Mm-hmm. Luckily for him, it's Australia. They have anti-venom. Snake bites are very affluent there. It's kind of like their culture. So he was lucky. He was close enough to where he could be rescued, and he was. He was safe. He's fine. But he was saying, like a couple of years later, he was in North America, here in Canada, and he's going for a walk. stick touched the side of his foot. And the way that he physically responded to that stick scratching him because of the experience of the snake bite, right? He fuck, what, snake, right? Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And that's the limbic system. And that's how he explained it to me. And then you take all these compounding negative things being fed to your limbic system every day, newspapers, media, social media, but like how often do you see like a positive story coming out of it?
Right, yeah.
That's happening around the world. You know, that isn't your limbic system directly. Everything is being fed, you know, to feed your negative emotions because they're more fluent than the positive ones you feel.
Wow. That's really interesting because it builds up and builds up and builds up.
The more we learn about our internal working, the closer we'll be to identifying really what is a threat in our lives. You know, like are these things actually threatening our way of life? Our way of life?
That's it, and to know why, and it kind of helps explain why we're reacting in a certain way. It's not a demon that's making us react like that. It's all this negative input all the time. So how do we solve it?
Right.
We get rid of the negative input. Like we stop, like just consuming all this negative garbage. Yeah, no, that's
with love, man. With love.
Man, because, just put love in, and love comes out.
I'm all about the revolution, big guy. I'm all about the revolution, man. And in today's society, to show compassion, patience, and love for another human being, no matter who it is, regardless of the situation, that's a revolutionary action.
I believe it, yes.
And you know, I'm all about the revolution, man. So
and because it's just so different than the violent revolution is the love revolution. It's just so weird when someone like yell at you and you give them, not someone, but like just respond with love. It's like, why would you respond with love? That's so weird. Like, why would you?
And violence isn't a revolution, man. Violence isn't going to solve anything.
No,
has bombing Afghanistan and Iraq solved ISIS?
It created ISIS. Bombing Afghanistan created the Taliban. Bombing freaking Saddam Hussein created ISIS. Like, yeah, bombing really helps out a lot.
That's what I'm saying, right? So, I mean, like, how about we just go over and, let's share our ladies, let's share our litter, let's get them to eat some bacon and fucking have a little chit-chat, man. Like, life isn't so fucking bad, you know what I mean?
Don't bring bacon, Steve. Just bring, like, a pot roast. A pot roast and a potato salad. They'll be... No, but it's just that.
No one's ate bacon and been like, this is the devil. I'm sorry, man. You eat bacon one time, you're like, this is the best shit I've ever had in my fucking life.
Oh, God, it's so good. But it's so bad for you. Or no, not for you, but it's just... No, we'll get into, like, whole farming thing, too. No, and, like, animal production, and, like, I've gone through that whole thing, and my brother went into full organic production.
There's things to worry about than animals, dude.
How animals production and farming is necessary to save the planet. Not necessarily meat consuming goes with it, but it's just like, don't become vegetarian or else the planet will die. Anyways, that's a whole nother podcast, whole nother thing. Food.
For sure, man. I look forward to having some more chats with you guys.
Awesome. What time is it? It's already 9 o'clock. Okay, I'll get these kids to bed, and then I'll maybe say 11. I'll be on with Frank, but I'll text you to see if you're around. We can jump on maybe too again. Yeah,
let's do it, man. For sure. You know, if you're on with Frank, I'd love to have a chat with both of you. That'd be dope. Get me on the phone.
Awesome. We could do that. Oh, that's right. That's how we do a 3-person one. Oh, I didn't think about that before. Oh, this is awesome. Yeah. Sure. We can do that too.
Hey, man. We can I can conference call Sean. We can fucking turn this thing into like a giant heated debate. I am so down, man. I love having conversations with people because I love people getting offended at what I have to say.
You'll love this place.
If one person watched this video and is fucking offended by something I said, dude, then I will fucking feel good about my day.
Just tickles. No, but make people think. That's how I would say it. Just make you think about why am I offended? No, but all these things. I don't think anything you said today would offend people. But no, for sure. I would just say to that, like these like 4-person conversations, 3-person conversations that we had to have, they've all gone badly. It's just like, usually it's Frank.
They will, man. They will because...
No, just that no one talks. I prefer one-on-one.
And our truth, right? The truth and our truth.
Hey, you'll be able to get in there. Sean's got a way of everyone can call in like 3 at a time. And I did that. Like on this Facebook thing, we can only do one-on-one and I guess one on a time. But one. Anyways, we'll see. There's just so many different ways of having conversations. But like I say, Sean's ready to go now. Luciano, he's coming up. I'm sure like they just need the guests, as it were. People to Just people to talk it out with. And if it works, if it works. If it doesn't, they don't want to talk to you again. That's the way I live too. It's just like, hey, if it's not your bag, I'll go somewhere else. That's all right. But I'm sure you'll have a spot here for sure, unless Facebook bans you.
Hey, yeah, man. Thanks for the conversation and shit. I'll let you get back to what you got to do. I got to get to what I want to do.
All right, perfect.
Give me a text later. Let me know what's going on. Like I said, I'm around all night tonight.
Excellent.
So,
Excellent.
living in
Sounds good. Talk to you soon then. Yeah.
Yeah, man, for sure. All right, take it easy, bro.
Yeah, bye now.
Later.
Oh, I'm gonna cut off soon. Here we go. Tick, tick. So that was. What does Frank say at the end? Oh darn! This has been Seeking Truth with Stephen Fraser. Goodbye.
Boom.